Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, really never on Wednesdays. It's usually Alex Spears, but with me now, I've got my guy, Rylan Stiles from Locked on Thunder, joining the podcast. Rylan, what's up?
What's up, man? Happy to be here on a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday. We're actually recording this on a Monday for all of you because I'm banking some episodes because I'm just not going to be home very much. So we're going to do a redraft. I was like, what evergreen content can we give you guys that doesn't involve talking Summer League? Because I don't know what's going to happen in the future. And frankly, the Summer League team doesn't have just a ton of juice at the moment. Maybe they do. Maybe they do tonight. I don't know. We're recording this early on Monday.
I wouldn't bank on Cormac Ryan launching a ton of threes and making them. He's going to get a ton up. He's going to shoot a ton.
He'll take
he's not
him.
going to make any.
He'll take him. He was taking them. So we're doing a 2022 redraft, which is like very Thunder related because this is the draft that made the Thunder. You know, obviously it's the trade ultimately that made the Thunder, the Paul George trade, which is looking better by the second for OKC. But in order to get to the place that they're at today, they had to hit in this draft. And honestly, you take everything else away. Like the year prior, obviously isn't looking quite as good. And some of that is really just because they nailed this draft so well. You know, it's part of like the Josh Giddey stuff is that they nailed this draft and that they just absolutely crushed it. And these two guys, J-Dub and Chet, just absolutely occupied the spots that any other guy in the top five would have occupied. And they slammed the door shut on everybody else. So the Thunder nailed this draft. So we're going to do a redraft. We're going to go back and forth. And I don't know. I thought maybe we'd get through the top 20. I've tried to map out 30 picks, and it's like, boy, it gets pretty rough a lot faster than you would assume. I remember how great this draft was, and it's a really good draft. But you kind of forget how quickly drafts dry up, and almost any year, and this year is no exception. You know, obviously it's not, but I think a lot of people that are picking at 17, man, our guy's obviously going to be the guy, and it dries up fast. So let's go back and forth on the draft. Rylan, I'm going to give you the number one pick in the draft, picking for the Orlando Magic. If they had to pick again, who would they select at number one?
If the Magic had to pick again, I think that they would still take Paolo Banchero. What I would do in the GM seat would be that I would take Chet Holmgren, only because I think with Chet, he gives you more versatility and he gives you just it's easier to build around Chet, I think, than it is to build around Paolo. Because what if Paolo is never a guy that can take you to the promised land? We've seen how hard it is to get a number one A guy be championship quality. Whereas with Chet, he gives you more flexibility of, he might not be the number one A guy, but whenever you do find that number one A guy, no matter what position he plays, no matter what his archetype is, Chet can complement that guy. But I think that ultimately they would stick with Paolo Banchero, so I'll go Paolo Banchero here.
I think that's probably right. Although I wish you would have gone Chet so that the things just get a little bit wild. But I think Paolo. I was actually talking to somebody about this. I think that Paolo is the right pick for them. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that they needed a number one scorer on their team above everything. And Chet could turn into that. Would not discount that. I just think that it's obvious earlier for Paolo that he can be your number one or number two scorer right out the gate. Just because of some of the stuff off the dribble and the way that he can kind of command the offense. I think they made a good choice. You remember that night, how everybody thought it was going to be Jabari Smith?
Everybody. It was just that night. I mean, I think that day was just crazy because I left Lawton having already recorded a show that Chet Holmgren was the pick. Then on the way to Lawton, it was well, actually, they might be looking at Chet Holmgren at number one.
You get to before the draft.
Yes, I banked it before the draft.
Wow.
Because I was going to go to the facility.
I had the same confidence, but man, that's a next level confidence that this is going to happen. Wow.
Yeah, and it was strategic because I was well, I'm going to be at the facility, which is an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
So if this is the pick, huge reward of like I've already got the show done. If it's not the pick, that's gonna suck because I can't really get to a microphone in like an hour and a half. But the risk reward was worth it. But
Yeah.
like you left feeling really good enough to record a whole show about it. And then you came to the facility and it was like, well, they actually might be taking Chet at number one. Then the draft starts and Chris Haynes is like, oh, the Thunder are taking Jabari Smith Jr. all of a
I
sudden.
know. What did you
And
think?
you're like,
How did that hit you?
when that hit, I'll never forget like the sound that Ginny Carlson made in the Thunder Island
Oh,
of just
really?
complete perplexion, which I was like, oh my gosh, I've got the show already loaded up on YouTube, like about to hit publish after the selection at one.
Thing offline, man.
And I was about to have to scrub it off there, but luckily it was a false report for the sake of the pod and for the sake of the Thunder. But it was just I've never really seen anything like that where the odds shifted so much before I could even get to the Thunder facility. That they just shifted.
Yeah. They have like the ESPN draft show and everything the day before, and they're like, oh yeah, signs are pointing to the Orlando Magic taking Jabari Smith Jr. And it's like, all right, we just kind of all assume that that's the way it's going to go. And I was, when the Chris Haynes tweet dropped, there's got to be, and maybe people don't care. Maybe people outside of OKC don't care enough about it. I would love to have a backstory on what the heck happened there with the Chris Haynes.
That almost just ruined everything. My show, it would have ended up not being as good as picking Chet.
We had a shirt design like ready to go. We didn't have like the shirts printed or anything, but like we had like the shirt design ready to drop when they picked him. And when the Chris Haynes tweet dropped, it was just like my stomach just like sunk. One, because I just wanted the Thunder to take Chet so badly. Like I thought that it was lining up for him to be there. He had worked out for Orlando, but left the workout early because he would just have preferred to be in OKC. Chet was just like such a strange player with such high level talent that was just like those are the kind of guys that can like help change the league and kind of help set like a new precedent for what's going to happen. Jabari was something that we've seen before, and a good player, and a player that I think is going to be really good moving forward. But yeah, I think that Chet was obviously the right pick there, and that's who I'll take number 2. Well, we don't have to belabor it there, but I think the Thunder made the right choice at number 2, and this what could look different in 4 years. You know, where we look up and Chet's like this dominant rim defender. He's become a better scorer overall. Not that he's a bad scorer; he's already a really good scorer, but like becomes a more dominant scorer. And Paolo, sometimes these gunners, these like forward gunners, can kind of level out a little bit, especially the ones that don't have like high level defense like Chet does. Where if the Thunder win a title in the next 3 years and Chet's like clearly like the second best player, where like emerges as like 1A, 1B with SGA, which would not surprise me. You know, I think like people could easily put Chet over Paolo. And some of that could just be that Chet is in just a better situation, period. Like I think the Magic are in a good situation, but I think like the Chet's like the like alpha situation. Like there's nothing better than the situation that Chet has been put in. So yeah, shout out to Chet. Also, we went to the in-season tournament presentation in Vegas. I took my whole family there, and Chet was there, and my oldest sons were in the very front row, maybe like 12 feet from Chet, and my oldest son has a Chet jersey on, and my other son has like the Chet shirt on that we printed for the draft, and they've got like Chet cards and everything just like on hand, just ready to go. And Chet was amazing. He, during one of the commercial breaks, waved at one of the producers to go get the cards from my kids and signed cards during the commercial break. And then after the whole presentation, he came over and he signed my son's jersey and was super kind to them. So that was really cool.
You're drafting people, Andrew.
They're drafting people, man. And I'll tell you this, my oldest son had been wanting to get that jersey signed all year and couldn't get it done. And he was over the moon the entire time in Vegas getting that jersey signed. And Chet came over and he was like, He did. My son didn't even ask him to do it. He was like, "I'm gonna come sign your jersey." And he was like it's just so wide-eyed. It was amazing. It was so cool.
Wow. Did he have any thoughts on the Group B draw, your son?
Oh yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, we're dominating that group. Like we're just
Okay.
that group is cooked. Like
Oh,
we're
it's cooked.
yeah, we got
It
this."
doesn't have any skibidi toilet riz. Does that group not have any of that, huh? So I guess that we'll be in Vegas again here in a little bit. Are we going to go to the in-season tournament? Road
Oh,
trip it out?
well, I'm probably not my family, but I'm open to. I'll probably be there.
If
Yeah,
the Thunder are there, I'll be there, and we'll be
I hope
partying
they're
in
there, man.
Vegas.
I hope they're there. I think they're. I mean, obviously, anybody has a chance. That's kind of like the fun with the in-season tournament. But it would be pretty cool to see OKC there. I'm very interested to see how round 2 goes, and if like the Lakers aren't there, like a team that travels really easily to Vegas, like if it was OKC, Minnesota, trying to think of like another team, Orlando, and
Oh,
like if it
Adam
seems
Silver's shaking right now.
I know. That's the thing is like it was deemed like this massive success, and obviously it was successful enough for the NBA that they sold the rights to like the name and everything. Like that was probably the goal was to do that. I'm sure they're making a ton of money off of it. But I just wonder what it looks like when you get there and there's not a team that travels that well to it. Because I'll tell you, when it was Indiana Milwaukee, it was not like the Lakers game. I'll say that. It was very strange because it was a crowd mostly of probably locals that didn't have a particular rooting interest, and they would clap at every made basket. It was just strange. It was just strange. Like it was like, we are equally happy for this basketball to happen. You
Yeah,
know, it's kind of how it was.
just wearing the NBA shield for the vibes. So
Yeah, exactly.
good for them.
Exactly. This is
Hopefully, we get to go to Vegas if the Thunder are there, and we can watch Viva Las Vegas, a great Elvis movie that I've already
oh,
shown
wow.
Joe Mazzato. I've
Okay.
already showed Joe, and he loves it, so I think you'll like it.
Okay.
I think you'll like it. He watched it in Dallas. Watching it in Vegas might be a little bit more fun.
Oh,
But for the third pick, it's
this
easy, right?
is
It's
obvious.
J-Dub. Now
This
it does hurt, I'm sure, Thunder fans in the chat to hear that he's going to Houston, but
brutal.
Houston for J-Dub.
Yeah, that's not okay. That makes me
And
feel
this could have revolutionized my guy Jalen Green's career had he been playing next to J-Dub.
true. True. I mean, there's part of me that feels sick about this. There's another part of me that's like, man, what if J-Dub was like just like the lone guy? Like, what would he do? Okay, what kind of numbers would he have put up in year 2 if he was just like
Yeah.
the guy? And obviously, Houston has other players. Like Houston's got a lot of good players. I think that he would have shown himself to be the guy there this past year. And like, if he was 25, 5-5, would like anybody have been surprised if that's what
Yeah.
he did all year? Like, I wouldn't be. I think he's that good. Also, drafting people. We saw him at the Vidara hotel in Vegas, and just super great to my kids. So
You're just seeing everybody.
anybody that's nice to my kids is good in my book. So shout out to J-Dub. Yeah, he's clearly like the third guy. You could make the argument, and I think an argument could be made in the next few years that it should be Chet, J-Dub, 1-2.
Yeah.
And
I almost
he,
made the argument for Chet right now, so I could see it.
yeah, I think that could be where we land eventually. Just because I think J-Dub is such a unique talent in the way that he plays the game, and that he's physical. He's this like physical wing that can kind of do it all. And those are the kind of guys that you want. Like those are like the most coveted players in the league. And I think that he is going to make I expect there to be another big jump from him this year. And I think like he works for it. Like he's not somebody that is out there partying and mixing it up. Like he's somebody that is like working every day to become like the best player possible. So yeah, I think J-Dub number 3 is very clear. And now it becomes a little bit murkier with the number 4 pick. I hate going chalk. I hate going chalk here. That's not what I wanted to do. But I do think that Keegan Murray is probably the next best guy.
Wow. I would have
You
gone
don't
Jabari Smith Jr. here.
Yeah, I hear you.
I just think that Jabari Smith, like with an actually talented guard and like better guard play that can set him up, he looks a lot better. The Kings really need some defensive help. I think that Jabari Smith Jr. is a better defender than Keegan Murray. And the shot, like in those settings where Keegan's getting those looks, if he got that same shot quality, I think that Jabari Smith Jr. would be what Keegan Murray is at worst, and at best would be better than him.
Let me look at his corner threes, because Keegan actually was like quite bad from the corners this past year. Jabari was 46% from the corners. Okay. You may have convinced me, because I do think the thing about the Kings is if they are committed to Sabonis, they need somebody that can defend next to him. If that's how you want to move forward, is that you probably need somebody. Yeah, Keegan was only 32% from the corners this year. Like, that's just not good enough. He's got to bounce back. He was good as his rookie year. He was 43% his rookie year, but he was not good from the corners, which is kind of a pivotal shot. Okay, I'll go Jabari. At 4.
Oh, and now I have to put on the former Troy Weaver hat with Detroit.
Yep. Pretend that you are Troy Weaver right now.
Jalen Duren. No, I'm just kidding. I think that Detroit, I like Jaden Ivey as a prospect. I have not liked the fit for Jaden Ivey in Detroit. Same with Ron Holland. Like, I'm a big Ron Holland guy.
By the way, they haven't liked the fit either, from what we can tell.
Yeah, they haven't liked much in Detroit, except for Little Caesars Pizza. But I'm going to go Keegan Murray.
Okay,
Keegan Murray.
That's from what I understand, that's who they wanted originally. Which I think that he makes
him next to Cade is a lot better.
Yeah, defensively it's not the best, but offensively it helps quite a bit. And a bonus is if you get to go back in time, maybe you don't have to sign Tobias Harris.
Wow. So you're trying to take money out of a Tennessee Legend's pocket. Now I'm off board.
Are you a Tobias guy?
I'm a big Tobias guy in general.
You are.
Tennessee Legend. I mean, he's awesome.
He's awesome. This has got to like sink in for a second for me. Wow.
Jordan McRae, Scotty Hobson.
I have not met a Tobias guy.
Josh Richardson, the Orange Mamba. Every ball.
The Orange Mamba. I didn't know that there were Tobias guys out there.
I think that he can get a little unfairly criticized due to the contract. He's not good. He's not good enough to be on that contract. But are we ever going to turn down money here?
I mean, I'm not criticizing the dollar amounts that he's taking. I mean, certainly.
You're criticizing the dog in him?
I mean, certainly, yes. Like,
wow, that's fair.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, he's just a guy that, I mean, he's probably going to help them in the regular season, certainly. But in that final game against the Knicks, you remember what his line was?
Probably nothing good.
4 points. 4 rebounds, 3 points. Or I keep saying points. 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 0 points. 0 points. 0 of 2. He took 2 shots.
Well, the good news is for Detroit, they're not going to be in the playoffs for a long time.
In 30 minutes, he took 2 shots. That's my criticism. That's why I'm just like this. He must have an amazing agent, just an amazing agent. And he only has one nickname on Basketball Reference. You know what it is?
Toby.
That's it.
We can nickname him also Vol Legend. I'm a Vol Lever in Tobias Harris. Wow. Renaissance tour in Detroit.
So we'll put this on the record that Rylan would have rather had Tobias than Isaiah Hartenstein. That's what he said. He would rather pay him 2 years, $50 million. That's what he's trying to say.
I mean, if it pays a ball.
Okay, so we have Paolo, Chet, J-Dub, Jabari, Keegan Murray. We're picking at 6 for the Indiana Pacers. They took Ben Mathurin, who had like a really hot start his rookie year, kind of faded a little bit, struggled with injuries last year, didn't end up finishing the season. He's a nice player. I think that he's one of the best players here on the board. I think like he obviously is going to be like a helpful bench piece moving forward. In this like high-powered offense, I want them to have shooting, but I also think like having a power forward next to Miles Turner that can really pass it is great. And I'm a Sohan believer through and through, and always have been. I love his defense. I love his attitude. I love the passing. I know some people are going to be throwing a fit here, but I'm going to go Jeremy Sohan. I just really like him still.
Well, if you're gonna go Jeremy Sohan, you have to sing the song, your little ditty.
Jeremy Sohan. God, feels good. It's been a while since I've done that.
It's been a long time, but it feels good. It's like riding a bike.
It's like riding a bike. Just hopping back on the bike. Yeah, I just can't quit.
Man, you need to go to Jeremy Sohan Anonymous and get that all sorted out.
I do. There's not any perfect player left. There's not any like great player left, right? Or am I crazy?
I mean, I don't think you're crazy. There's some guys I like better than Jeremy Sohan. Like I like Jaden Ivey better than Sohan. I like Shaden Sharp better than Sohan.
I just worry about those guys being empty calories, I guess.
Yeah.
That's my only thing with them. And at 6, Shaden, I could probably get more on board. And even like Ben Mathurin. At that point, it's like, who do you prefer, Shaden or Ben Mathurin? You know?
Yeah.
At this point, it's kind of a toss-up for me between those two. I think they're both going to be productive players, but like which one of them is going to bring enough juice defensively to really help you, I think is one of the questions that I have. Also, if they draft Sohan, maybe the Thunder could more easily get in on Jarris Walker. You know,
Ooh, I would love that.
So, okay, 7. The Portland Trailblazers you get your pick if you're into these potentially empty calorie guys, which they may not be. That may be an unfair criticism of mine, but that's just something that I worry about with some of those dudes.
So, just as like a pure prospect, my favorite player of the remaining players is Jaden Ivey. I think that he is just really like you just really can't take much from his Detroit stint. He's going to, I think, find a new team at some point and look a lot better. He's going to be one of those kind of guys. So why not give him the new team right now and give Jaden Ivey to Portland? And, then eventually you add Scoot and we'll see how that works out.
Butterfly effect, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe they don't add Scoot. Maybe it saves them from the Scoot experience and you draft Brandon Miller.
Oh,
ooh, now we're cooking.
That is a interesting timeline for the Blazers. I think that they might prefer that. What is Jaden Ivey's ultimate role? Like what does he do? What is he if everything works out for Jaden Ivey?
I think honestly, now you have to like reevaluate things on the low end, and I think that he would be a guy that like you have this really good team, they're sound defensively, but they just have these scoring lulls and they just can't quite have sustained offense for all 48 minutes. And he comes in and he's just like a firecracker offensively for you. Mm-hmm. I think that he's like a very valuable piece on a winning team that needs an offensive punch.
Yeah. He's just below average as a scorer and has been in Detroit. And maybe that's a Detroit problem. Maybe he gets to a different situation, but like he's below average field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw. Like it's just not. As a guard, like you just have to be a little bit better than that to be a starter. So I don't know. I worry a little bit about Jaden Ivey. I think I could probably, like you said, a bench piece is probably what he is, and that's mostly why I've shied away from him a little bit up until this point. And I would probably go with somebody else at 7, but at this point, we don't have a ton to pick from here. Okay, number 8. The New Orleans Pelicans took Dyson Daniels, who they have already moved before the end of his rookie scale deal. And maybe it goes well in Atlanta, but offensively, things have not popped for Dyson Daniels, and that's probably an understatement. I am probably going to go. God, it's tough because if we're talking Brandon Ingram, like adding a Ben Mathurin or a Shaden Sharp, which are like two guys that like let me cook, is not ideal. Neither of them are ideal next to Zion either. Like they're both probably these like go get you a bucket off the bench forwards. And then we're talking about, okay, what big man fits well next to these guys?
Especially with the knowledge now of like you lose Valanciunas, you lose everyone but Yves Missi. I mean, Larry Nance Jr. is gone.
Yeah, I know. I don't love it. And this is not a guy that I was super high on, that I didn't really love him all that much out of LSU. But I just wonder, one, you got a Louisiana boy to your roster, and he's just a wild man at 6'8". And I think if you want to play like these point Zion or like center Zion lineups, and you just have like this wild guy next to him, and your forwards are Trey Murphy and Tari Eason, I think you can feel pretty good about that. It's like great size, great energy. I'm gonna go Tari Eason at 8. I was never really a Tari Eason guy, but if I'm thinking about what the Pelicans could use, they obviously need a big man, but I just hate drafting a big this high in the draft. Like I just hate it. I don't like the idea of it. You've got to be something really special, like Chet, in order for me to draft. In order for me to want to draft a big that high. I don't think Duren is there defensively to help a playoff team. Mark Williams is a nice player, but I wouldn't take him in the top 10. Give me a kind of wing, versatile forward that is going to defend, and the shot. If it truly comes along, like he's going to be one of the better players from this draft. And like Houston did well in this draft did well in this draft too. Yeah, Tari shot 36% on just a couple of attempts. Like his shot has really got to come along, but the rebounding's great, the defense is great. He's just a wild man, and I think I would rather go that direction than to some gunners that may or may not help you in the playoffs.
Well, congratulations to the Spurs, who've already seen their pick off the board. That was a great pick fight by Tari Eason. Made the best of a worse situation. For the Spurs, they now need someone. I'm going to give them Benedict Mathurin.
Okay.
Let's see what he looks like with Pop. Let's see what he looks like with San Antonio. I think that this could be a very fun, like pick that does not alter at all your win total and still let you get Wembanyama. Now you have Wembanyama and Mathurin. Could be fun.
I like that. I think coaching and situation is so important. Also, butterfly effect. Maybe they don't get Wemby now.
Yeah, I think that they'd still be terrible. It'd be a more exciting way to lose, though.
It would be, definitely. I mean, it's butterfly effect for any of these picks, honestly.
Yeah.
But we can't control that. It's not our job to control time here.
Yeah, we're not redrafting butterflies. We're redrafting the 2024 NBA draft, 2022 NBA draft.
Okay. Number 10 with just the absolute
Johnny Davis.
Let's just go Johnny Davis again.
That's what they deserve.
Don't want to mess with the butterfly effect with the Wizards. Let's just keep Johnny Davis in the fold.
Because if you make a good pick here, maybe Will Dawkins never leaves, because he didn't leave until after 22, right?
Yeah.
So,
right. Man, I
sabotage him.
It is. He's just even a bad summer league player, which is just really sad. I kind of like Johnny Davis. I mean, he was a guard that could rebound. He scored a lot at Wisconsin. There were things to like about him. There were reasons why, he was thought of at this highly. And the truth is, like, in every draft, there's like a bust. Like, there's just a guy that just doesn't work. And it happens almost every year. And you just have to cross your fingers that your team doesn't take that guy. At like 21, Zaire Williams goes 10th to Memphis. Like, brutal. 2020, there's several of them. Killian Hayes at 7. Okoro is still kind of like hanging out there in RFA purgatory. Jalen Smith, there's several of them. Cam Reddish in 2019 just didn't work out. Kevin Knox in 2018. Frank Ntilikina in 2017. Like, it happens every single year. Thon Maker, shout out to Thon Maker. Saw him at the Vidara Hotel checking in. He's on the Lakers Summer League team. But like, it happens every single year. That's somebody inevitably. And it'll be somebody in the top 10 this year is going to bust. It's going to happen. I'm looking at you, Cody Williams, Zach Edey, Rob Dillingham, Donovan Clingan, Dijon Salon, Ron Holland, Steph Castle. Looking at you guys. I don't know who's going to be.
Staring at him.
One of you guys. It's inevitable. Happens every year. I don't know who it's going to be from the 23 class. Taylor Hendricks, maybe.
Yeah, he seems like the most likely culprit right now.
But it happens every year. It's probably going to happen this year. Could happen multiple times like it did in 2020. But it's going to happen. And it happened to Johnny Davis in 2022. So shout out to the Wizards who just do a great job of just being terrible. Okay. I actually like what the Wizards are doing right now, by the way. Like
they've righted the ship now.
Bubba's look pretty good in Summer League so far.
Bub's been bubbling up in Summer League.
Shout out to Bub. Big Bub guy over here. RIP the Bub and Dub era in OKC. Okay, so 10th. I'll probably go Shaedon Sharpe here. It's just like a swing. It's just like a wild swing with I don't know if Shaedon Sharpe is good. I just don't know. He's shown flashes. He can handle the ball. I remember following his story. It was like one of the weirdest stories, with how everything went down with him. But remember there being like stories about the Thunder trying to trade up for him and like, oh, he's on the Thunder's radar. And, we were hoping like, could we get Chet and Shaedon Sharpe? And I probably did like 300 podcasts about that back in the day. But Shaedon, he's a pretty good sized wing that can score with the ball in his hands. He can commit defensively. You're in a good spot. And he's going to have the reps in Washington. So much better than Johnny Davis. I can say that.
Way better than Johnny Davis. You can say that for sure. And what a time the 22 rumor mill was. It was like Shaedon Sharpe popped up there. The Thunder were going to trade back for Ivy instead of one of the top three guys. That was my least
favorite just like thought exercise, which I don't even know I don't think it was a real rumor. Like I really just I cannot get myself to believe that was an actual rumor, but it always made me feel sick to my stomach when people would say like, hey, they're like Jaden Ivey, they could trade back. And you're just like,
that was just ridiculous.
No, they can't. No, they cannot do that. They should not do that. Okay.
But the Thunder did materialize a pick out of thin air, pick number 11 with New York, which is on the clock right now. And for various reasons, the entire top 10's off the board.
Let's pause real quick because what was going through your head? Because we didn't know that they were keeping pick 12 for, I don't know, a few minutes. It felt like an eternity. It's like the Thunder. First, it was, and this is the range of emotions that I went through on draft night. The New York Knicks are taking Ousmane Dieng. In my brain, I'm like, yes, thank you, Knicks, because I didn't really want the Thunder to take him at 12, and there was a lot of like rumors that they were taking him at 12. I was like, yes. And then it was like, the Thunder are trading up to get Ousmane Dieng from the Knicks. And I'm like, no. Like, most of these trades, kind of like the case of Wallace trade, it is a flip and you give like some kind of extra asset just to move up one spot to get your guy. And I thought, no, I can't believe they're doing it. They're really doing it. They're taking the swing at this 6'9", do it all forward that was sometimes invisible on the on the breakers. So I worried, and a lot of that has come to fruition with Oos. Now I still want to give him the benefit of the doubt and the runway to become an NBA guy. I think like he's definitely going to have a chance to play this year some, and is going to get a chance to break into the rotation. But it's not looking as amazing as his number 12 counterpart, Jalen Williams, at this point, obviously. But what were your thoughts on draft night as the Thunder acquired this pick for Oos?
Yeah, up until we found out that the Thunder kept 12, I did not love the pick. I did not love the idea of you walk out of here with Chet and Oos. Like Chet was the massive prize and all this, but I felt like you could have done better than Oos as if you were going to go make a trade like that. And then ultimately they walk away with both of them, which then it kind of flipped the perception of what that class was. Of okay, you kind of accomplished everything. Of you got this unicorn player, you got this high upside swing that you just love so much at this stage of the rebuild. Because at that time, you had no idea that they were going to win 57 games in a couple of years. You still felt like it was the infancy of the rebuild. And then you got an accomplished, multi-year college player who was a late riser and felt like he could at least be a good NBA player with potential. So I thought that they kind of checked every single archetype in there after we found out the results. But initially, I was like you, and I thought that this was a guy that was rumored to them. He obviously was just their guy. The Knicks bluffed sort of like the Mavericks did with the Poku thing, where they acted like they were going to take Poku. Then the Thunder traded up with the Timberwolves to go get Poku ahead of Dallas. So I figured that something happened like that. But luckily for the Thunder, that's not what happened. They just wanted to go get Oos, and they pulled it right out of thin air.
Yeah. After the trade, I was like, oh, okay. This is actually kind of awesome that you get a chance to. And a lot of the thoughts about Jalen Williams at the time, I think were just incorrect. That everybody thought oh, he's going to be kind of a role player. He's a guy that is probably is he going to make it, as a starter in the league? People just didn't know what to think about him, mostly because he was a junior, played at the small college. People were just wrong about him, and the Thunder just absolutely nailed that pick. Just insanely nailed that pick. It was just amazing. But the way that they did this draft, I thought was so good, because I think even you go back in time, we're talking about redrafts, you're not taking Oos this high, but just taking a swing in that area of the draft is, I think, worth it, especially whenever you get your guy at 2, you get your other guy at 12, and that you're getting those guys. It's we might as well just take a swing on the 6'9", do it all forward that could potentially work out. It's a ridiculous draft for OKC.
Yeah, and still is, even in this redraft, because like you mentioned, we just did a redraft, which is placing the very best 10 guys at their spot, and you wipe off the 10 guys that we've already taken, plus Johnny Davis, who's not even in consideration, and you look at it and it's sure, is Jalen Duren a better NBA player than Usman Jang right now? Sure. Akai Baji, Mark Williams, AJ Griffin, Dalen Terry, Jake LaRavia. Some of these guys are better than Oos, obviously. Do any of them offer you the potential of a 6'11" guy who can space the floor as a shooter, who can play make, who can defend 1 through 4? None of them offer you that upside swing for a team at 11 like the Thunder, who at the time, again, no one expected this to happen and this team to get this fast, this good, this fast. So it's still, even in hindsight, with the knowledge of hey, you're going to have a guy like J-Dub at 12, only of course in this exercise you don't, but it still is not a terrible selection, even though we have not seen any of that materialize at the NBA level yet. Because Christian Brown would be the pick here, I guess, for me. I would go rock chalk.
Yeah, Christian Brown is probably right with his little dinosaur arms. It's great. I think that he makes sense. And I'm gonna go like probably in this this may be crazy, but I don't care. I just think this guy's good. I think he's gonna contribute for a long time. I'm gonna take at 12 Vince Williams Jr. out of VCU.
Whoa, Vince Williams Jr.
I
People
just
are going
think
to be really mad that you did not take Jalen Duren, and I'm glad that this is on your YouTube channel and not mine because, goodness, the comment section is going to be really mad.
a big that doesn't quite get it defensively is just
You know how much this fan base loves Jalen Duren now.
Oh, I know. You already have Chet.
You already have Chet. You have Isaiah Hartenstein. Now
You have Isaiah Hartenstein. Who here's the deal. You take Jalen Duren in the lottery. You take a big in the lottery. You think that the player, the agent, the family, the girlfriend, the everybody of the Jalen Duren camp is going to be like, freaking love being the backup to Chet for his whole career. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great career for him because he can't quite play next to Chet, but we love just the idea of just backing up Chet for our whole career. It's going to be amazing. Heck no. Like, no way are they going to do that. Like, that's why you don't take a big in the lottery. It's because, like, those guys, the bigs that get picked in the lottery, think that they can be starting level big men. All of them. Every single one of them. You know who else thinks that? Their dad, their agent, their best friend, the people that are talking, the chatter that's going to go around. Oh, Jalen Duren's much more physical player than Chet. He should probably be starting. He should. He deserves a chance. Chet, he'd be doing a lot more than Chet would be on the defensive end of blah blah blah. You're gonna hear it. You're gonna hear all of it. And to me, it just ain't worth it. Even if you think that Jalen Duren's probably going to have a better career than Vince Williams Jr. That's probably the case. But why do you start to hear things from Detroit about them just not being satisfied with him on the defensive end? He's a very young player, still has some time to figure it out. I don't think it's time to pull the plug or anything like that. But Jalen Duren, he's obviously a nice and productive player, but if you don't get it defensively as a big, you can't be a starter. Like, you just can't do it. You're going to bounce around like Andre Drummond. Like, he could be in a long line of Detroit big men. He could be the next Greg Monroe, Andre Drummond big that's like super productive, but like doesn't get it with like the little things enough for him to make it. And like, you look at the raw production, like, yeah, like there's a lot to like about Jalen Duren. Yeah, and you add another Jalen to the team.
Yeah, that's a huge plus, huge booster. I also agree Jalen Duren should not be selected with Oklahoma City, but Vince over Andrew Nembhard over some of these other guys. Like,
I guess
you're a big Vince guy.
He's 6'6". He's got. I love what he did last year, and granted, it was on a bad Memphis team, but I think Vince Williams is going to be a guy that's going to contribute to this year's team. He was like one of the things that they found of this past year, and I think like it's going to pay dividends for them. Like, he can shoot it, he can pass, he can do a little bit of everything. Like, he's a nice role player for them. Shot 30, almost 38% from 3 on 4 attempts per game, almost 3.5 assists. Like, he's just like a nice role player that I think can do a lot with the ball. 80% from the free throw line. Like, if he can continue to progress as a role player, you had him and Christian Brown. Like, those are two like nice wing role players that can help you. And you look at the rest of the board, if you're not taking a traditional big, like and that's my viewpoint. I'm pretty stubborn about that. And I get that there's people that would rather have, and that's just just the differing opinions.
Yeah.
Amongst me and other people. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I am definitely right. I'm definitely right about this. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong about this. But Duren, Mark Williams, you take them off the board, and then it's like, okay, well, like, who's left? Like, Walker Kessler's another one that I think could go higher in this range. I think that people have cooled on him, obviously. Nikola Jovic, Peyton Watson is probably one that I would consider. I worry that about him being able to play in the playoffs. The Nuggets pulled him. They didn't trust him in year one or in year two. I'm sorry. Only shot 29% from three this year with like real minutes. So I worry about that. All those reasons I go with Vince Williams Jr.
I like it. I like the pick. Now Detroit's on the clock, and
Back
Jalen Duren's still there.
He's still there. You wanna do it again? Want to roll it back?
I don't. I would not pick Jalen Duren. And we're gonna get crushed for being Jalen Duren haters. But I look at this pick, and wouldn't you rather try AJ Griffin here? Like,
whoa,
wouldn't you rather just try the swing?
Whoa. I mean, the Hawks said no.
Yeah, but they're the Hawks. I'm almost more inclined to take the swing on AJ Griffin now that the Hawks are kind of out on him.
Oh, wow. I mean,
I won't take him for this.
McKelly over here, but man, like that is
I know.
I did not expect to even hear his name on this podcast.
I'm an AJ Griffin guy. Like I buy into the whole like when he's healthy, high school tape. I buy into that all that
Did
stuff.
you have a little pit in your stomach when the Rockets picked him up? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you.
I think he's going to be good, like a good player for the Rockets.
Okay.
I think he's going to be a quality player.
Wow.
And so, luckily for the Rockets, you know, that they benefit from the Hawks just being a disaster.
Wow.
Would you go Walker Kessler for the sake of like? It seems as though you can ask more like on the trade market for him than you can for Jalen Duren.
Yeah, I think Kessler's like a legit defensive center. I think he would help. I think he would have helped Detroit. Yeah.
I'm going to go Walker Kessler for Detroit.
Okay. Wait. So you're not going AJ Griffin?
I'm not. I was just throwing AJ Griffin out there as a thought exercise because he's so good and fun. And his high school film, Andrew. Don't forget the high school film. Whenever we do draft AJ Griffin, put a dash high school film.
What about the wide, like how wide his feet are on his shot?
Oh, we don't mind a little width over here.
I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's like exaggerated. It feels like a bit almost.
What I mean, you know me, I'm on for a good bit. So,
okay. The Cleveland Cavaliers took Ochai Agbaji and they traded him pretty quickly. Ochai is still playing in summer league. He's on the Raptors now. It's not so good for
Kansas
Ochai.
legend.
Kansas legend. This is probably where I go Nembhard, who I think is a good player.
No Jaden Hardy.
I'm not part of the Hardy party. No.
Okay. Well, we'll have a block party of our own then, and we'll just not invite you.
That's okay. I'm okay with not being invited to things.
Well, I'm glad you've taken Andrew Nembhard. I think he's a really good player. Remember the Caleb Houston promise, by the way? Your guy John Hollinger. That was a fun time.
Caleb Houston, very upright. He's got the Harrison Barnes posture.
The Harrison Barnes posture. So now we're at the Hornets.
We're at the Hornets.
Who drafted Mark Williams IRL, as the kids say.
Yep.
Man, this is tough. Tari Easton's gone.
Yeah, Tari's gone.
Walker's gone. You know who else I bought into that it looks really foolish now? Patrick Baldwin Jr. I really bought into like
PBJ.
Right at Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's a bad fit. High school. He's so much better in high school.
I know. Yeah, I was like, he was on the list of. I think Alex and I did this for Slam and Jam, where it was like, I can't believe we let this guy get to this team. You know, it was like part of like the bit, and like PBJ was one of them. I was like, got him to the Warriors. He hit a spot up three. He's 6'10". You know, it's like no. Like, there's a reason why he dropped this far in the draft for sure.
I'm sorry to do this to any prospects to send them to Charlotte, but Jake LaRavia, get ready to learn North Carolina, buddy.
Jake LaRavia. Wow.
Yeah.
Also playing.
This is a bad ending to the draft. We started out really good.
Well, that's just kind of how this draft is. It kind of fizzles a little bit.
It fizzles.
It's
fizzling. This Dr. Pepper's been sitting in the Honda Civic since July. This is not good.
I'm kind of scouring the second round to see if is there anybody else in the second round.
Jaden Hardy. What about J. Will?
Ismail Kamagate. You big Kamagate guy. You give big
Jabari Walker though.
Jabari Walker is actually kind of interesting.
Jabari Walker guy.
But undrafted Kenny Lofton Jr. Or Johnny Juzang. Can you believe Johnny Juzang got a contract?
I cannot.
That blew my mind.
What about
Oh, you know who went undrafted that should be picked right now and who I'm going to take right now?
Who?
Keon Ellis from Alabama.
Keon Ellis. That's a good pick. It's a good pick.
He's good.
He is good.
He was really good. Yeah, he's really good. I got to see him up close and personal whenever the Thunder played the Kings. And he was awesome.
And you know where I had Keon Ellis on my big board, as Joe Mazzato points out, number 29.
Well, that's good.
You know who was 28 on my big board? Jake LaRavia, who I just picked. Really
wow.
High. We're not going to mention all the misses, but
what was your biggest miss?
I had some tough ones in 22. AJ Griffin was at 6.
Yeah.
That's not aging well. Johnny Davis was at 10. That's not aging well, obviously. I did buy into Kennedy Chandler at 22.
Chandler hype.
Kennedy Chandler at 22 was, oh man, that was a rough one.
Kennedy Chandler came up in a conversation with my buddy Fred Katz in Vegas. He said his name bothers Fred so much because it shouldn't be Kennedy Chandler. It should be Chandler Kennedy. It's like, well, he just can't get over it. His name is wrong. They just did his name wrong.
Hopefully his NBA career did go the way of never mind. But Jordan Hall. Jordan Hall.
Do you
remember Jordan Hall from St. Joseph's?
No.
I had him at 32.
32.
I thought Jordan Hall was like,
did he land anywhere?
No, never. And the Spurs tried him out in summer league after that draft. They took him into preseason. I was like, oh, smart franchise, great coach. Here he is. Here comes this big playmaker. And he's been terrible. He's still playing summer league, trying to catch on somewhere. But
yeah, I'm looking at his stats right now. Passer, he shot 39% from the field. 6'7" guard though. There's some interesting things about him.
He was so interesting at St. Joseph. I was like, oh, I got this guy. This is my guy.
Wow.
It didn't end up working out.
Man, Kenny Lofton. God, Kenny Lofton's so fun. Still,
I mean, at this point, let's just draft Jacob Gilliard.
Yeah, for real. Just get yourself a G League caretaker. I mean, come on.
I mean, we've seen the value of winning a G League championship in Oklahoma City.
That's right. Shout out to Adam Flagler, who looked great the other night, by the way.
He did. I mean, he's unironically really good. Friend of the program, Adam Flagler. I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's good. Shooting the rock. Yeah, you should go listen to the interview that Rylan did with Adam. It's good stuff. Okay. Are we good? Is there anybody else that's just left that you're just like, oh,
it would make my heart feel happy if we drafted Jaden Hardy somewhere. Who's next? San Antonio?
The Rockets at 17.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong Hornets pick because I drafted LaRavia and I was looking at the one after that. But yeah,
you can take Hardy here.
Jaden Hardy in Houston. What a disaster that would be, though. But it'd be a comedic disaster. Him and Jalen Green and oh goodness,
that is not the spot for him. But
it's not an ideal spot. But I do just want to see his name on the board for my own peace of mind.
Yeah,
Max Christie. I mean, shout out Max Christie.
I mean, we actually didn't take Jalen Duren or Mark Williams.
Wow,
But I think that's fine. Just leave it as is. I mean, people are probably like, I can't believe they took Jake LaRavia and Keon Ellis before those guys. But
we're staying on brand with the Jalen Duren. I mean, there are people who had Jalen Duren in their top 5, and I just give me a break. Give me a break.
Yeah, I can't do it. Just can't
Were you
bring
ever
it.
a Beauchamp guy?
No, I was not a Beauchamp guy. There's not been many guys from the Ignite that have been my guy.
Oh, see, I'm the opposite. There's never been a bigger Jalen Green guy than me. There's a podcast on Lockdown Thunder where I said he's going to be a multi-time NBA scoring champ.
Wow.
And he's not been a Rocket scoring champ yet, probably.
No, I'm trying to even think if I've been in on any of the.
I was all in on Scoot.
Yeah, Scoot is probably the one. I was all in on Scoot as well, but that might be one of my only Ignite guys. Ron Holland, I don't know. My kids met Ron Holland.
You do not do the state claim to a Ron Holland guy after I got belabored on Dream Team for bringing up his name. I'm the only Dream Teamer.
That's true. That is true. Alex Spears, also Ron Holland guy.
Yeah, see, me and Alex, I've got to represent on the Wednesday pod for the Ron Holland.
That's right. Crew. That's right. My kids met Ron Holland in the at the Vidara too.
Goodness, this Rolodex of like meet and greets.
It's a pretty big Rolodex. Saw KCP. Got to congratulate him on his new deal with the Orlando Magic.
Shake his hand, look him in the eye, and say,
"I did not.
You're rich."
Here's the deal. I did not. This was my rule with all of that is, listen, I'm a dad. I'm a guy. Like they don't care about meeting me. Like most every player is like cool with like talking to kids, like signing stuff for kids. Like I just don't want to be that. I would never. Yeah. I will stubbornly never be that guy.
Good. I'm proud of you for that.
Just like
I've always been proud of you, but I'm proud of you for that as well.
Thank you.
I actually did talk about you on the podcast today, which today's Monday for us. But
oh yeah,
someone asked who would I sing karaoke with? You, Jay Will, Kevin Durant, or Sam Presti? And I picked you.
Oh, thank you. I think we would have a blast with karaoke.
Oh, I mean, we've already recorded Blue Ballin'. We need to record some more music.
We literally recorded. If you haven't seen this is the reason to subscribe to the. I think it's just on the OKC Dream Team regular, subscription. But there's a video of it on Patreon, patreon.com/OKC Dream Team, and we recorded. I went and got my guitar, and I played as Rylan sang, and it's a gem. And you should go check it out. It's again, check it out on the Dream Team page. Hilarious. It was great. Rylan sent it to me. I think I listened to it in the middle of the night when you sent
3 a.m.
When you sent me like the first demo of it, and I was like, "We're doing this." And, like I played the guitar since I was 11 years old. Definitely can play. I've been able to play Free Fallin' since I was 12. And it's like, yeah, let's do this.
It finally came in handy for you. I sent you that iMessage voice memo at like 2 a.m. I was not familiar with your game. I was like, oh, he's older. He'll wake up to this in the morning. Like it'll be fine. I got a reply at like 3 a.m. and I was like, oh my God, did I just wake him up with a freaking blue ball? I just imagine like waking you up and your wife's next to you, like listening to me sing about the OKC Blue. I was like, oh, what have I done?
Dude, I'm a veteran. I put my earbud in. So
wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Did not disturb anybody, but definitely just sat and giggled in my bed listening to this song.
That was a rough first demo too.
It's hilarious. It's so good. Yeah, you should go listen to that. All right. I think we're good. I think it's really funny that we didn't draft Jalen Duren or Mark. I like Mark Williams. I think he's going to work out fine. I think he's going to be a good player for them. He should probably be the 12th pick. He should probably be the 13th pick. And then I would probably have Duren after that in place of like Laravia or Keon Ellis or any of those guys. Like I probably would do that. But for the sake of the bit, not happening. Here are our top 17 picks. We're stopping at a weird number, but we're doing it anyways. Paolo, Chet, J-Dub is the top 3. Jabari Smith 4, Keegan Murray 5, Jeremy Sohan 6, Jaden Ivey 7, Tari Eason 8, Ben Mather 9, Shaden Sharp 10, Christian Brown 11, Vince Williams Jr. 12, Walker Kessler 13, Andrew Nembhard 14, Jake LaRavia 15, Keon Ellis 16, and Jaden Hardy 17. A redraft for the ages. Let us know.
I promise you, no one has that redraft. I promise you.
This is a 1-of-1 redraft. Easily. The only redraft that doesn't include Jalen Duren. It's the only one.
That's it.
Guaranteed. Leave us a comment on YouTube. Let us know what you think. Let us know how insane you think that we are in the comments below. Please just like this video if you're watching it. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys listening. If you want to comment, this is a new thing on Spotify. You can comment on individual podcasts on Spotify now. So if you're listening on Spotify, go ahead and just leave a comment of just like, you guys are so dumb for not having Jalen Duren in your top 10. Do it. Leave us a comment. Leave us a comment on YouTube as well. And we really appreciate you guys listening. Go listen to Locked On Thunder. Go listen to the OKC Dream Team on Patreon. And we will talk to you guys again on Friday.